6. Man Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. 89, thrust set. 5500. 31. Rotate.
Yeah, so I'm a real YouTube pilot. Yeah. You should come check it out sometime. Yeah, that's what I mean. All right, well, I'll catch you later. Have a good one. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. I was just talking to my friend over there at the counter. Looks like the weather is pretty shite around here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't know where the door to the jet bridge is. There it is. We'll hop on down here. Good to see everyone. Sorry for the slight delay. I had to stuff my lunch there. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to eat lunch before or after the stream. I was originally going to do it after the stream, but then I saw the weather forecast for Billings and decided, well, this might be a longer day. So let's go ahead and have lunch first. And here we are back in the flight deck. Good to see y'all here. Chaos in the house, Mr. FlyByWire himself. Quick note, make sure you have imported the fuel load from SimBrief before calling the fuel. Fueling starts automatically with GSX integration. Good to know, Chaos. I probably already screwed that up, my man. I'll check it out though. Hopefully it'll work, because I was messing with the fuel. So let me go ahead and reset the cam here. Hold on. I got some volume issues. Give me a second. What is going on? Can y'all hear me all right? All right. Hopefully you can hear me now. All right. Yeah. Okay, now it's working. I think it's working better now. Okay. What is going on? Flight to Live, Crazy Flyer, Thrust Set. Good to see you. Zach Lewine, Vega's in the house. Fragtality is here. Good to see you as well. Mr. Fenix to GSX, which Now maybe it's going to be PMDG to GSX, ATR to GSX, Fractality. Come on, man. Don't let us down. Don't let us down. Fresh off the night of unbridled romance. Keith B. What's up, man? All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up. A little discombobulated there with the with my audio, but I guess it's working fine. So we're just gonna go ahead and leave it as is. We'll skip the rest of the shout outs. Thank you all for tuning in. Zippy's Apple, good to see you here. Hope you all enjoyed the stream yesterday. I had a ton of fun with that, going over that Fenix video. Ooh yeah, I cannot wait to get my hands on that airplane, which will probably come out either this weekend or the 24th. So one of those two. Those are my official, unofficial release dates for that. Let's see. We have internet issues. Nope, we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. Shorter stream today. Got some stuff planned for the back at the house, so we're gonna just get to work. I said I was gonna fly this airplane yesterday, but then when the Fenix news came out, we'd had to do that. But there's been some updates, from what I understand, to the FlyByWire 320. So that's what I want to check out. We haven't flown this one in quite some time. I think it's been about 3 weeks since we did a flight in the FlyByWire. It's always refreshing to me when I rotate this aircraft. So we're gonna see if that's changed at all. Obviously, flare mode. I haven't even launched it since the last time we flew it, other than launching it today and updating it. So if we're going to see it firsthand, if there's any change to the flight model at all, we'll see. If not, hopefully everything works as intended. Now, I wouldn't use it anyway. You're probably right, Fractality. I want to show y'all something here. You see that? This only happens in the fly-by-wire, and everything is calibrated in the EFB menu correctly. So I can go into reverse, and then I go full reverse, and it pops that one forward. I am unsure why that is happening, and it is fly-by-wire specific. I've same profile. It's even the same profile that I have for the Fenix, and it does this. And it doesn't do it in the Fenix, doesn't do it in any other airplane. So I don't know what that could be. It's quite bizarre. So we would have to remind me to just go idle reverse on touchdown. We'll be super mid. We'll do idle reverse on touchdown so we don't give it a full send and go asymmetric thrust. The forecast in Billings is not all that good. We got freezing fog, snow, low vis, and some moderate crosswind. So it's going to be a fun one. Let's go ahead and get it going here. We all love the sounds. I love the fly-by-wire sounds. Let me make sure my sounds are up and juicy. Now, what is kind of cool is we can kind of see some of the, the Fenix sounds are coming with the cabin sounds and all that. It's already here on the fly-by-wire, so I can kind of show you, that cockpit door. If you haven't seen that already, I'm sure you have. But you can kind of muffle the cabin sounds when you close your cockpit door and your announcements and all that. So I always said the fly-by-wire had the more immersive sound pack. That'll be very interesting. We'll have to put them head-to-head on the Fenix Block 2 releases. It's how to enter drift mode. That's interesting. I have to move my chat box up because I have this mini FCU sitting so high and it's blocking my screen. I'm not sure if I like this setup here. I don't know. I just feel discombobulated today. That's all right. We're going to have a good stream. It's going to be a good one. Let's get the lighting on, though. Not that one. Let's do the integral juice. Yes, please. We'll go cruise supply on ground control, CVR. We'll go ahead captain only. We'll get the 8 ears 1, 2, and 3. What do I think of P3D? It's dead. Unless you're doing military contract stuff or you have a PC that can't run Microsoft Flight Sim. Or you have heavily invested in P3D. Then in that case, it's still a very valid platform. But you have to be, I think at this day and age, with the airplanes that we're having come out now and with the way X-Plane 12 is even progressing, but with Microsoft and how 24 is on the horizon and with the depth of fidelity that we're starting to get from developers on the Microsoft platform, PMDG's here, Fenix is here, you really need to be heavily invested in P3D. I would not recommend that as a starting out now sim. If you've had it for the last 10 years or whatever, by all means. It's probably just as good as X-Plane at this point. But as far as starting out new, I don't think I could recommend starting out new on P3D right now, just because of the financial investment it's going to require to bring that sim up to what I would say is an acceptable level of juice. Real technical term there. Acceptable level of juice. Mike P. Hey, Mike P. Appreciate you, man. Heading back to Vegas. Hey, listen. I might have just saved you $200. You never know, Mike P. That $20, Could have just saved you 200. So I appreciate the support. I'll put it to good use, my man. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful trip. Win big. Make sure you report back. And we'll talk to you when you get back from Vegas, man. All right. V1, I got a question for you. I busted my CAX EOC. I don't know what that is. On my Power Off 180, any tips to improve? Your CAX EOC. Something. What is that? You did a Power Off 180 and you failed on that. Any tips to improve? Well, what did you learn from the debrief? Did the instructor tell you what you did wrong and how to correct it? My first tip is really going to be learn why you failed the maneuver. Why did you fail the maneuver? How can you remedy what you did the next time you do the maneuver? Got to learn from mistakes. Pilots, we all make mistakes. Every pilot makes mistakes, whether you're a sim pilot, real world pilot, doesn't matter. We all make mistakes, but the good pilots will learn from those mistakes and apply those lessons to future flights. So just because you busted something, don't beat yourself up over it. Got to have a short memory, learn the lesson, and move on. I like the dated look of P-32NX plane. Makes me feel young. You guys are funny. Dimitri's in the house. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Well, look, with the cat dragged in, boss, it's been a long time. Work has been crazy. Streaming hours don't jive. I feel that, Dimitri. We might be shifting to some more PM streams. So I know you West Coasters will probably appreciate that. Probably going to have a little shift towards the PM streaming here pretty soon, just to kind of mix it up. But yeah, man, anytime I get to see you in chat, Dimitri, I appreciate you stopping by, dude. All right, let's go ahead and get to work on our fly pad here. Call refuel. So I've already downloaded 12.9. Cool. So let's call for the fuel truck right now, and we'll get that going. As far as our charts and everything, we've got this. We're going to do our taxi 10.9 page. I'm going to pin you right there at a Billings. We also need to get the weather. So let's come down here and see what runway we're going to be departing. What are the updates, Leonardo? I'm not even sure what the updates are. I know they were working on flare law, and then I heard that it was bugged, and then that they fixed it, and that it's pretty much the same, but we'll see. We'll see. I gotta adjust my tactical flip-flops. I do have the tactical flip-flops today. About 65 degrees outside, a beautiful afternoon. All right, let's see what we got. Receive messages. We're gonna print these out here. Mitar, Boise, right now 060 at 10 miles light rain. We're gonna have to be running some de-icing. Not de-icing, we'll have to run our engine anti-ice on. Temperature 5 degrees, dew point of 3001. All right, we'll hit Magic Barrel ref key. 3001 is set there. We do have our mini FCU up and running. We'll get our VORs on. We'll turn terrain mode on because we're going to need that coming out of here. And this did print. Yes, it did. Rip you off. Let's come down here. With the wind 060 for departure, we're going to take 10 left for departure. So 10 left. And the flight plan that we have in the box is direct to feather, so we don't even have a SID, but let's put the Boise 3 in there. We'll insert that to vector out to feather. Looks good. Coming all the way down to Billings. When we hit up Billings, winds are 030 at 13. Let's take a look at that runway layout in Billings before we get everything fired up here. Runway layout in Billings, which I don't remember the last time I've ever been to Billings. That's been it forever. 10 left and 28 right. So winds were 03. We'll take I guess 10 left. Really all we got. The arrival 10 left Zulu ILS, and the arrival that we have for the start is the Yeslin 3. Insert you, and we'll take the approach off of Cool to draw it all the way out, and the intersection is JCUG. GCUG, some interesting fixes here. All right, so fuel truck's in position. He's hooking up. He's gassing up. We're ready to go. I'm assuming the font in the FlyByWire Neo is wrong. I don't know if it's wrong, man. You all tell me. I don't know what fonts look like. I've looked at so many fonts now. They all look pretty dang close. I do know there is a difference between Honeywell and Thales, though, right? So, I mean, they all look the same to me, if I'm being completely honest. I know there is a difference, but as long as it does what I expect it to do or want it to do, I'm okay with it. Are we ever going to be able to do non-precision approaches and go-arounds in this plane? Well, you can sure do go-arounds in this plane, Dimitri. I've had my fair share. probably due to the lack of the ability to do non-precision approaches. So we tried to do a non-precision approach in this down in Mexico, and that did not end well. You probably remember that if you were around for that stream. We went around, what, 4 times? But as of right now, you have to fly at LNAV and VNAV. There's no AppNav. Jess Phillips, good evening, good afternoon. Quick question. When doing an ILS approach in the 320 Neo, what do you set the altitude selector on the FCU? Very good question. I tried to put it on managed yesterday, but it only displayed the dot next to the number. Okay, so be careful what you're asking there. So for the altitude selector, once you cross the final approach fix, or once you've intercepted glide slope star, we set the missed approach altitude in the FCU. The missed approach altitude is going to be on the chart on that missed approach section. So I'll show you right here. If we go to, we're going to be shooting the ILS Zulu right into Billing, so I'll pin it anyway. We take a look at this chart. Once we do glide slope star, we capture the glide slope. I'm going to set the first missed approach altitude at 5,700 feet. Now you want to be careful, because if you actually do have to go out and hold, there might be an additional climb. So you have to read the missed approach procedure. Climb to 5,700 on Billings, to the Vortac 082 to Musty, and hold. Now some missed approaches will say proceed to the hold, climb and maintain 10,000, so then you would eventually set 10. But it's always a good practice to set the missed approach initial altitude, so right there, 5,700 feet, and don't pull it or push it, just set it and leave it. So because you don't want to pull it and then disengage your approach mode or anything like that. So you just set the altitude and let it be. As far as manage goes, no, you're not managing an altitude because you're already in glide slope star, right? So your vertical mode at that point is glide slope, so you can't really you can't manage the altitude because you're already managed essentially in glide slope mode, if that makes sense. But good question. Robinson J. Santana dropping 5 memberships to the channel. My man, appreciate the support. Thank you for that. If you pick up a membership, make sure you say thank you. Team Green here. We really appreciate the support, man. Very kind of you. All right. That's pretty much loaded. Our box is pretty much, we got our main flight plan, GPS primary, we don't need any of that. RadNav page, Boise is in there, we'll leave that. Progress, I'm going to put KBOI right here. Perf data will come back, and knit B, we're going to leave it just like this. Now fuel is on board, right? So we've got 12.8, so we're going to go 12.8, boom. Once we get the fuel on board, fuel tank pumps come on. Seatbelt sign comes on. Let's prime the APU, and we're going to send the passengers down because we need to get out of here because it's going to only get more nasty. So go ahead and request. Oh, wait. Hold on. Almost screwed it up, Chaos. I almost screwed it up. Come down here. We're going to payload. Download sim brief. And now we should start the boarding process. Boarding requested. So we should eventually start to see the airplane fill up. So APU has been primed up. Give it about 3-5 seconds. Oh yeah. And you see the door opening. Gotta love it. I love fly-by-wire sounds. Nope, we're already on board. Thank you. I love the informative and cheerful style of you, sir. Love your videos. Hey, Adam, appreciate the kind words, man. Hope you stick around. We try to be upbeat and positive around here. It will be easier in the near future, hopefully, says Fractality. Ooh. More tricks up your sleeve. Mohammed says, everyone, I still think PMDG makes great airplanes, but I hope they will pick up their game and close the gaps of new levels reached by Fenix Block 2 update. Cheers. Mohammed, cheers right back at you, my friend. Agreed. You know, they've made a phenomenal 737. I'm not a 737 driver, so I can't, you know, I mean, we could go up and do engine failures and stuff, but that's not really something that I'm interested in because I want to make sure when I'm showing you stuff, I'm showing you correct stuff and not being classically trained on that particular airframe. You know, we could do it for fun maybe once, but from what I've got from the PMDG experience, I've really enjoyed it. It's been good, and performance has always been good, that really well optimized, but as you've seen now with the Fenix Block 2 coming around there, I mean, it's just a different level, You know, they are approaching, not approaching, they are at a different level of development. Fenix team is. It's kind of like your next generation developer, right? PMDG has owned the 737 market for since their inception. FS9 with the NGX, right? So was it FS9 or FSX the first one? It's been so long ago. I was a day one purchaser of the first PMDG 73 to ever drop. I owned all their airplanes in FSX. I owned a handful of them in P3D. I've got probably thousands of hours in PMDG products, and they have always been the pinnacle. But now it seems that that page is turning, and a new chapter is beginning with a new development group at the Fenix team. And I've got a suspicion, y'all. You ready? This is a hot take. We might have to clip it, and you might have to show me in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Hopefully not that long. My official guess for the next Fenix aircraft is a 737-400 classic, and then a 500, and then a 300. I think they're gonna release a 737-400, maybe a 3 or a 5. But if I have to be specific, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 400 out the gate. That's my official prediction for Fenix. I don't know why. If you're a member in the Discord, maybe you saw me last night chatting about it, but I think that's it. It's gotta be. And if it's if Fenix were to bring a 737-800 out, come on, it would crush the PMDG 73 that we currently have. Dimitri says, all I'm going to say is that a 777 will be insane in all aspects. Trust me, I know. Oh, Dimitri. Now, I have not, yes, no doubt in my mind that 777 is going to be absolutely insane. I cannot wait for that. That will also be a day one purchase for me on the Microsoft platform. And they changed the boarding music? This is very patriotic, Boris. Seems like very patriotic boarding music. It's been about 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and fire up the APU bleed. We'll leave the cabin temps right there at the 12 o'clock position just because it's a little bit on the chilly side. So we'll leave them right there at 12 o'clock. PMDG 75 for Flight 2 Sim was a game changer. I don't remember Flight 2 Sim, Chris. I think you were talking about that to me in the Discord last night. I don't think I got on the Flight 2 Sim game. During yesterday, you said you could turn off frame gen. How do you do that? I click on my second monitor. When I click on my second monitor, frame gen is deactivated on the current monitor. What about a 7.3 Max? Oh yeah, they would crush a 7.3 Max for sure. Tyson, you still haven't bought the PMDG because you knew all along Fenix was going to drop a 7.3? I don't know. I've got the feeling, y'all. I've got the feeling. I wish we had a window right here so we could watch the ground crew work in the rain, but best we got is this one here. I guess I could move it. Well, I guess we could move it a tad over there. But I mean, that looks so real, minus a sleazy jet in Boise. But a 7.3 Classic would be... I would have more fun with the 7.3-400 from Fenix than I would any 7.8-900 from PMDG. Just because, y'all know me, I'm a classic lover. I love the older jets. That's why I even bought the PMDG 736, because I pretend it's a 300 or 400. We've done U.S. Airways ops. We've done America West ops. But I would absolutely love a classic. I think it all depends on what your age bracket is, you know. There's a certain generation of simmers that, like, all they care about is 777, 350, glass, glass, glass. The more glass, the better. Then there's another generation that's kind of like, we like the, you know, the old school, but we also like the beginning of the new stuff, like the A320, the classic 737. And then there's a generation that likes, you know, hey, if it's got a magenta line in it, I don't want to fly it. So we're all split across the board. I think I'm a mix between the old and like the new to old. So the new stuff is just it's so boring to me, you know? It's cool, but it's boring because everything is so automated. Quick question, do you have air conditioning working while boarding? And if yes, is that powered from APU bleed? It is, Isaac, yes. So if the APU bleed is on, like we have right now, this is a popular position here of the panel. So we have the APU bleed on, but the external power will take precedence on the electrical. So we have the APU not fully loaded, so it's a little bit more efficient. It's running at a little slower RPM. The APU right now is only providing pneumatics because the ground power still has precedence while hooked up. If I go ahead and disconnect external power, Now the APU is working full bore, it's doing everything, and we're good to disconnect. But a popular way to have it when you're just kind of boarding or you just fire up the APU, you split the load, because why put all the strain on your APU when you still have external power available? Now in reality, once that APU fires up, the ground crew can hear it. And so they're like, okay, he's firing up his APU, he's probably ready to disconnect. So shortly after you fire up the APU, more often than not, someone's gonna, slam on the front of your airplane and wave their hands at you, hey, can we disconnect? And you say, yeah, you're good to disconnect, and you get rid of ground power. Typically that happens between the 10-15 minutes prior to push. So this update fixes the feel in the flare. Nathan, we're gonna find out together, man. We're gonna find out together. Hans is also working on a new update for the CRJ with new goodies, regional class of planes, and Microsoft needs some revamping. Agreed, Dimitri. That is a class of airplanes in Microsoft that really got neglected. Maybe neglected is the wrong word, but just it's not as robust as I would like. We've got the ATR, which is cool. I've really grown to love the ATR. But yeah, CRJ needs love. The Embraer E-Jet series needs love. Heck, I would love to see a Q400. I know Majestic's working on theirs. I cannot wait. I know it's probably a really long ways off, but they were in the chat when we were doing the ATR stream. And, oh, man, I would love myself a good turboprop. Fixture realism shot. Oh, Zippy, that's you in the sleazy? All right. Hey, look at that. We've got a spiritual wangs out there. Looking good, Zippy's apple. Looking good, my man. How long on average does it take from cold and dark to push back in the real thing? Isaac Johnson, that depends solely on how fast and how many people you have on the airplane. So a fully loaded 320 all economy like this Frontier flight here, we got 174 peeps. You can probably board them up in 25 minutes if everyone's cooking. Realistically, it's probably going to be about 35 minutes when you start boarding to push back. Because remember, it's once everybody's on board, you also have to make sure the ramp crew is doing their thing. The GSX ramp crew is the most studded ramp crew I've ever seen. In real life, ramp crews are a little bit slower, especially in inclement weather. You got the rain, and that's no shot. It's just reality. I've worked the ramp. We have people in the chat that work the ramp. When it's freaking 3 degrees and raining and snow, like, you're not moving fast. It's just a reality. So things slow down. You get everybody boarded up. Bags aren't completely loaded yet. Or, hey, we forgot we had an extra cart of these bags need to go on this plane. They show up late. So now everybody's on the airplane, but you got another cart of bags to load up. So it's very fluid, and it changes day to day, flight to flight, airport to airport. There's really no set. But really, you strive for that 35. My airline, we leave about 45 minutes between turns. That's about as close as you'll get when we call it tail-to-tail schedules. That's when you're blocked in. You got a 45-minute turnaround. That's a tail-to-tail schedule. And when everything's running at normal pace, you can easily fully deplane and replane a fully loaded 320 in 45 minutes. That really shouldn't be an issue. It's when things start to go awry. Didn't used to hate the ATR? I think I remember you wanted to delete it. Josh, you're absolutely right. The ATR used to be my kryptonite. I hated that airplane. I struggled with it. But it also was bugged to the point where you didn't know if you did something wrong or if the airplane bugged out on you. And then it got a big update. And then we flew it in the Caribbean. And even though I had not such a smooth initial stream, I fell in love that night. I took it home. I read the manuals. I studied the airplane. Turned it into a study level. I actually had to study the systems a little bit, learn about the TRU operation. I learned that the TRU originally from ATR was only supposed to be used in emergency situations, which is interesting because now it calls for it on all the time. But then I fell in love with it, man. And what really helped me fall in love with the ATR was force feedback. Getting the Brunner force feedback yoke just changed yoke-driven aircraft for me it just put it on a whole nother level. Unfathomable, thank you for the $5 super chat, my man. GSX put Red Bull in their coffee. Unfathomable, thank you for the $5 super chat. They sure did. They put something in their coffee. That's for dang sure, man. They put something in that coffee. But the love of turboprops, yeah, Josh, I love turboprops. If PMDG or Fenix dropped a turboprop, it'd be my favorite airplane in the sim. Heck, my favorite airplane right now in the sim is probably the ATR. I thought the Leo Mad Dog was your kryptonite, not sure why. I love that plane in the E-Top. 3 add-ons for Microsoft. Dimitri, the Mad Dog is a good bird. And you know what, Dimitri, we're going to fly that next. We haven't flown that in a long time, and I want to get a profile for the Mad Dog. You know, the Mad Dog just struck me wrong with the way it was released, the way it was rushed out, the way it was ported over. I just felt like the developer kind of rushed to be the first on the scene, and they made some shortcuts, and that didn't really sit well with me. But the airplane has matured a little bit. The sounds default still kind of suck. If you get a sound pack, it works pretty good. But you're right, Dimitri. It is, all things considered, the Mad Dog is a really deeply simulated airplane, and it is done quite well. It's kind of similar to how I felt with the ATR. Like I take time to learn the Mad Dog, and you'll appreciate it. There's no doubt about that. Can you crossbleed, start the CRJ and the sim? Rotor fib? I don't know. I'm going to say no just because it's Aerosoft and it was just a default flight model. Should we do a crossbleed start today? Let's do a crossbleed on the... oh, Chaos. Can we crossbleed on this puppy? I think we can, right? Casey Olert. Whoa. Dropping a massive 20 gifted sub bomb. Can we get some likes and some positive rates for Casey? Appreciate that very, very much. Very kind of you. Thank you for the support here on the channel. Y'all, if you picked up a membership from Casey, make sure you say thank you. Very, very kind. Massive 20 membership gift here. Make sure you check out the V1 After Dark content, members only content, members only section in the Discord. Got some shorts videos for members, etc., etc. And we also have some cool stuff. I have something cool coming to members. Membership eligibility for something that's going to be pretty cool, I think, anyway. So, appreciate you. Chaos says, I'm sure you can unless I broke it. Well, let's give it a test. We're gonna try a crossbleed start today. We'll start up number 1, and we'll do a crossbleed on number 2. Just to see if it works. Check out this awesome podcast. All right, we are just about done loading, so let's double check here. Magic Barrel ref key has been done. Speeds, I'm not worried about you yet. Altitude, what did we file? I don't know. We'll go to, what did we put in here? We filed 390. Okay, well that's aggressive. Let's do 30. It's only 300 something miles. Let's do 35. We're gonna recruise it. New cruise altitude 350 is set. Yeah, it's only gonna be, what's our flight? 407 miles. Yeah, 35 is plenty good. Once we push back out of here, let's take a look at our Navigraph. Let's go our taxi, our 10-9, pin U. I'm gonna go daytime mode. Uh-oh. What happened?
Boarding completed.
There we go. All right, 10-9 page. We're gonna go nose left, tail to the right, 10 left for departure. Taxiway Alpha. As far as the SID is concerned, Boise 3 should just be a vector out of here, right? Well, yep, 098. We'll give ourselves a vector. We'll have terrain mode on. Emergencies prior to V1. Consider y'all previously briefed. After V1, we're gonna just hang on to our butts. We'll make right traffic, come back, land on 10 left, call it a day, go to the hotel.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your
So
captain,
check this
the
out.
first officer and cabin
Oh, no,
crew,
it's
I'd
'cause
like to
it's
take
the
this
PA.
time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to receive final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as they review the safety operations of this Airbus aircraft. We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Man, I don't know about y'all, but that guy, I get tired of that guy. Just yapping all the time. All right, what I was going to show y'all is when they start their PA, their flight attendant briefing, I'll hit this, and it'll be pretty sweet. You can hear shut out the cabin, what we were talking about yesterday. All right, prepare for pushback and departure, please. We don't need any de-icing because it is rain. It's +5. We will stand by for engine start. Check. Beacon is coming on.
Flight attendants, arm doors, and cross-check.
I'm going to wait for them to start their briefing, and then we'll close the cockpit door. Oof, I smacked my camera right before I went live, so I think I knocked everything out of whack here. Sorry, guys. I didn't order a Yappuccino. I just had a cappuccino, man. Great. Oh, check this out. Check this out. See? Muted sound. Pretty cool. It's cool that Fenix is going to be coming out with that. I like it. All right, constraint modes are on. We do have mini FC. Oh, I forgot to do the thing. I forgot to do the weight and balance. Always forget. It should just automatically do it, right? If I come down here and I go here and I go here. Nope. Here. Beautiful. Perf speeds. We're doing a flap 1 out of here for sure. Oh no. 133, 134. 138, check, flaps 1, Toga takeoff. We're gonna do packs off if we can hit 250 likes. Come on, smash that like button. 250 likes. This is the sound set you want to go packs off on, chat. This is the sound set you want packs off on. So smash down that like button. We need 250 before takeoff. Let me get Fly Live up. There we go. I am not on the radio just yet. Nose left, tail right.
Release parking brakes, please.
Uh-oh. LA Center's online. Brakes released or cleared to push.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start.
Wilco.
Until push is completed and brakes are set.
What do we got? Is LA Center in our airspace? No, we're good. Boise traffic, Frontier Flight 357 pushing back off of gate Alpha 4. Correction, 11.
357, we're holding position for you.
Roger. Chaos wants number 1 from the outside. I think we can do that.
And you'd be glad to know, Gia, that no longer gives you the hover tick.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You know what? I noticed that too. You weren't hovering. Yeah,
man.
He never hovered. That's pretty cool. All right. Little fix on the GSX side of things. Chaos wants an outside engine engine start. We can appease Chaos. Now, you want to do it from front, from outside front, or like inside front, or does it matter? Well, I'm sure it matters. It's Boris Audio Works. It's probably 372,000 different data points for the engine starts. Brakes are set. Come down here, check the triple indicator, make sure you do have accumulator pressure. If not, you come up here and just smash that yellow electric pump, give it a little extra juice. All right, you're clear to disconnect. Show me the pin out front. Thanks for the push. We'll talk to you next time. In my opinion, fly-by-wire cabin announcements sound better than the Fenix. Yeah, so the one that they had in that video that we watched yesterday, I will say it did sound a little, I don't know, it sounded not echoey, but like, I mean, it sounded like your head was on the speaker, which maybe that's what the whole point of that was, because he did say it'll depend on where you are in the cabin, which is a really, talk about details, pretty neat. So we'll be sure to give it a full test. Just straight ahead. So Chaos wants a straight ahead shot right there. Zoom it in a little bit. It doesn't get much prettier than that right there. All right, left is clear, right is clear. Can I start them up now? Are you guys still yapping on the radio? There's the pin. Give them the wave off. All right, we're going to start them up. APU bleed is on. Engine mode selector goes to ignition start. You'll hear the packs cut out. I'm going to juice up the sounds and mute my microphone. Everybody turn up your volumes. Maximum juice commencing in 3, 2, 1. Dang. That is pretty darn good. I know we said we're going to do a crossbleed, but screw it. Let's do it from the inside view because I want to hear my T-throttle on the window. You ready? We're going to do a window T-throttle here. Number 2. Gotta love it. Caleb, you're absolutely right, man. This same dude is making PT6 turboprop sounds. I will fly that airplane for a week straight. I hope you guys are ready for the Turbine Duke, because whenever it does release, you're only going to see that airplane on this channel for probably a week straight. So brace yourselves, because can you imagine that level of detail to sound on a PT6? Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. We got 2 good starts. Engine mode is going back here. That's going here. We said we're doing flaps 1. Let's pop these suckers out. Murafaka, yeah, I think they might have been placeholders, but also I'm not too concerned about the Fenix sound, the cabin PAs, because like you said, it's all going to be user modifiable, right? I'm sure people are going to be releasing real sound packs from other airlines, you know, for livery specific, which it's going to be absolutely awesome. That is one crusty speed brake lever. Look at that thing. That's some I need to call maintenance. We need to go back to the gate. Ugh. You got any sandy combs over there? No. All right. Okay, we got flaps 1 plus F. Everything else looks good. Short taxi. Let's do our control check here. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, tactical flip-flops installed, full left, full right, neutral. Let's set our trim value here for the thing. I forgot to do that. It should be 32.9er. So that's going to be, really? Should be right about, that's close enough. All right, we're ready to go. Y'all ready? APU bleed is coming off. APU master switch is coming on. Taxi lights coming on. Boise traffic. Frontier 357 taxi 10 left Alpha. How we doing on the lights? Did we hit it? No, man, you guys are weak. Only 188. I guess we're doing packs on takeoff. Sorry, we're going to be mid. We just do what everyone else does. We'll leave the packs on for takeoff. I try to mix it up around here. Y'all don't want to mix it up. We'll be mid. Andy Boyce, I'll be honest with you, from up front in the real airplane, you can't hear much of anything on engine start.
Boise traffic following
especially on the Neos.
Frontier to
321 Neo, forget about it. Can't hear hardly anything. 319 you can. 319 I still get excited. But if you have an ANR headset, no, dude, you can't hear anything. I keep my headset off for ground ops because I feel like I've lost situational awareness. So I recently got noise canceling headphones. I got the Bose Pro Flights for the real airplane, and I'm not sure why or how there's not any official guidance to using them, because unless you're on a new airplane like the new Neos and stuff, the alerts won't come through the headset. They're still played in the speaker. So when you have your ANR all the way up, you can barely hear anything. It's kind of like I'm actually very surprised. All right, auto brakes max. Takeoff config is checked. That's going there. That's going there. Boom. DARA 2000 on the squawk.
Please prepare for takeoff.
All right, let's get back on center line. Did y'all fix the tiller situation here? I feel, hold on, we need to look at this tiller. All right, it feels different. It feels a little bit more smooth. It's not jerky. So that's my rudder pedals. That still does that thing. Can I do this thing? Oh, look at that. So I can make a right turn with full left rudder. All right, that's cool. So it's working as it should. It does feel a bit smoother, Chaos. You got to get on 1440p, and game-changing FPS about the same due to optimization. Dude, my internet right now is struggling to hold 1080p, man. So, well, 1440p is not in the future. Go watch Mr. Wrongside Sim. You know, though, if I do get another PC, which we'll see here, because I really want to set up a second PC for DCS, I might invest in a 1440p monitor, even if it's just for myself. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I could still stream in 1080. Yeah, so I could still stream in 1080, but for myself, see it in 1440p. I think that would be pretty sweet. Avianca Brazil had a serious spat with Airbus because of that. They used to issue the Sennheiser MX26 for the Fokker and Airbus with noise canceling. Really? Yeah, I'm honestly, it's one of the largest surprises I have since I've got noise canceling for the Airbus. Does the real 320 tiller have hydraulic feel? Nope. Tim K, it feels the same no matter what you're doing. So the Cat 3 design tiller is about as realistic as, I mean, it feels like a real tiller, other than the real tiller is, I guess it would be metal. I guess the real tiller is metal, and it has, so it's, and maybe like a little bit, well, I think it's about the same size. But as far as the spring tension, no, it's always the same. There's no hydraulic feel. It's kind of like a twist grip, if you will. But it gets, I think it gets, yeah, always feels the same, no matter how, you know. You can feel the nose turn over when you really crank it to do a 90-degree turn. You can feel the nose wheel in front of you really start to roll over, and you got to be careful you don't snub the nose gear. You think the Bose ProFlight is worth the upgrade from the A20s? Oh, Nathan, that's awesome, man. Congrats on getting on with an LCC. Look, I had the A20s. I gave them away to my buddy who was doing flight training. I didn't want anything on my head in the Airbus, like anything heavy, because the A20s I feel like were still kind of clunky. I didn't want to carry it around when I got on the 320 series, and for years I just did the ship sets, which were Telex 750s. I like the ProFlights. I really have had no issues with them. They're super light. I can barely feel them on my head, and then after like 3 hours, I'll take them off. But if I'm doing a transcon or something, I just take them off and cruise anyway for a little bit, give my ears a break. But I thought it would bother me having something in my ear, but it really doesn't. I really enjoy them. I really don't have any negatives, other than the case is too small. All right, we're lit up. Did we hit 250 on the likes? 207. Nope. All right. So we should have engine and ice on this whole time. Oh, look at that. If we were in the Fenix, we probably would have been hosed. Why aren't we getting the cabin ready there? There we go. We're ready to go. Where are we at? Boise traffic. Frontier Flight 357 departing runway 10 left. Boise. Let's go. Pretty nice runway textures here. Pretty nice runway textures. Ooh, RVR is dropping. I mean, that felt pretty good there to turn that all the way over. That felt pretty good. I think I'm a little bit turned, but that going 90 degrees on that tiller, yeah, I went a little bit too far. That actually, whatever the tiller adjustment y'all made, I think it's correct direction. That felt really, really good doing that 90. Do wipers work in the FlyByWire? Just about as good as they do in the real airplane, so we'll turn them off. We don't need them anyway. All right, we're packs on. Toga from the inside, because y'all are lame. Spool them up 50. Yoga's in chat. Let's do this. Nose forward on the stick. Yoga. man, Toga, SRS. Auto thrust is blue. Here we go. You can still hear the engines coming up. Man, it would have sounded so much better with packs off. Thrust set. 100 knots. Check. V1. Rotate. Positive brake. Gear up. Navin. Oh, still. This airplane still rotates better than the Fenix. Oh, that felt so good. Maybe it's just because it's the Neo. It's got like a different rotate law. It just felt so good. Flying with. Not much to see. We'll fly IMC on this departure. Man, I love the way this airplane rotates. It feels just like the real Neos. Just like the real Neos. I think that's what the difference is. The difference that you feel between the fly-by-wire and the Fenix is just the difference between a Neo rotating and a CEO. All right, there's a positive trend. We're going to do it from engine view. Ooh, baby. All right, we are thrust, climb, nav. This departure is basically straight out. I don't have any background lights. Yeah. What's going on? There we go. Couldn't see my EFIS and FCU. Does the weather radar work?
With the traffic easy 9 for Tango Delta departing 10 left.
We're going to keep climbing out until we reach about 10,000 before we go direct feather. There's S speed. Let's go flaps 0 after takeoff checklist. Is that a subtle wing flex out there? Man, I am always pleasantly surprised when I fly this airplane. Ice not detected. That's alright. We're going to keep it running. GoPro view through the breakout in the rain. Weather radar. Okay, cool. No weather radar. That's fine. We'll survive. It's not like we deviate anyway. Look at the rain shafts out there. This is so real, guys. This is, man, when we get to that everyone wants to, compare sims. Look at this environment we're flying in. Look at the dynamic environment. You got a rain shaft over here, some clear skies, blue skies there. We're in some light rain right now. The dynamic environment of this simulator is what drives it home for me. I absolutely love this. Say what you want about flight models and visual juice, but the dynamic environment. Look at that. Look, there's a rainbow in the rain shaft right where it should be with the sun coming in. I wouldn't want to fly through that right there. All right, there's 10,000 feet, but that's MSL. What we're going to do now is we're going to go direct to feather. I'm going to activate you. We're going to hand fly it over there a little bit more. We'll go a little bit of a bank angle check to the left here. Even though we're 10,000 MSL, not AGL, we'll still do our lights here. That'd be SOP dependent. A little forward call there. We'll leave the engine anti-ice on. We're still kind of in and out here between these cloud layers. So in and out like this, in plus 10 to minus 10 C here. We'll keep it on. No need to turn it on, off. Let's just leave it on until we climb up above it. What's interesting is the ice not detect went away. So that leads me to believe we are picking up ice. So let's go ahead and throw the wings on. You'd only turn the wing anti-ice on once you were clean wing and you were actively accumulating ice. And you can check your little ice probe here in the real aircraft and see, oh, there's a little bit of ice on there. Let's throw the wing anti-ice on. But unless we see a visual indication of icing accumulation, we won't turn those wings on. Look at that little wing bobble. Have you experienced the sim firsthand in 4K, Benji? No, I have not. No, I have not. Clouds are looking pretty juiced today. All right, I don't know if there's any placebo situation going on here or what, but so far, hand flying out of here, that rotation, 10 out of 10. No complaints at all whatsoever. Felt very good. Just light pressures on the stick. You see how, like, just we do a light pressure here, we'll roll it out nice and level. You know, real life, I'd be probably flying with down here. But I don't have an armrest on my chair now, which is unfortunate, so it's not really set up like the real thing. But yeah, real life, I have my arm down here pretty much. I kind of fly like this, doing those small corrections. If you're doing this thing, you're going to call it ham fisting. So now you're just overcorrecting and make everybody sick. Keep your hand 2 to 3 fingers, small little corrections. Keep it on the flight director. Look at that juice. Do you use aviation headset with your home sim rig? No, I have an old Razer Kraken that's got to be over 10 years old now. The ear cups have completely like crusted off. It's really bad. I need a new one. But I feel like I have a new one on my home PC, and either the audio drivers or I don't know, it's just not as good. This headset sounds better than the newest Razer Kraken that I could find. The best drivers, like this one, still sounds better. So I don't want to retire it. All right, STDs are set for you, me, and Chaos. 18,000. It's about as much air showing as I want to do. We'll go autopilot 1 engage from mini FCU. Come back to the full screen cam here. I'll brighten up these screens a tad now that we're above all those clouds. All right, 19, climbing 350. Let's enjoy some climb out. Ooh, window or no window? Window, man. Window juice. You're hand flying with the FMA says nav. Correct. I am hand flying the lateral and vertical program flight path as directed by the flight directors. The autopilot column is at the far right. What is the side stick and how much does it cost? Exclamation point stick. It is a Thrustmaster Warthog base. That's the base of my side stick. And the grip is the FSprojects side stick. So I did a dedicated video on it, reviewing it, why I chose this particular combination. And the throttle is a Throttletek Airbus, the Throttletek throttle Flightbox V3. Is Nightbot here? If Nightbot's not here, I'll get you a link. Hold on, so I think Nightbot's getting a little lazy. There is the side stick that I'm running. I think there's a link in the description. I'm gonna have to update my Nightbot links. I'm down for the stick. If it's good, would take a few months of saving up, but it's fine. Absolutely. We talked about this a little bit on the previous stream we did yesterday. If you're content with your add-ons and you still are looking to invest in your sim, you're like, maybe I should get airports or sceneries, I highly recommend investing in some hardware, because we are starting to see airplanes with the Fenix, PNVG, Just Flight, FlyByWire even, that have flight models that are so good and so advanced that if you don't have hardware that is, well, let me say this, let me put it this way. The more advanced your hardware is, the more you're going to extract from those advanced flight models. You can only do so much with an entry-level stick. Now, you can still have fun, you can still fly, absolutely. You can do all the things, you can butter landings, whatever you need to do, you can do it with an entry-level stick. But to truly extract more from your sim and more from these advanced flight models, you need to invest a little bit into the hardware. So That's where I would, especially with 2024 on the horizon, we're unsure, you know, with what kind of sceneries are going to be compatible or not. Maybe put some of that money towards investing in a side stick. All right, we are out of all visible precipitation. We'll go ahead and get our engine and wing anti-ice off. Zoom our range out here. It's going to be a short cruise, so we'll enjoy the climb out. It'll be a short cruise, and we'll have to brief for our approach because we're going to be doing that ILS in some nasties up there. You forgot you had the real effects add-on for the Neo? Yeah, Zippy. I keep forgetting that's on there. Someone hit up South Oak. Tell them to hit me up. I bought their 747 one, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love the 74. I think, man, I know I said I was going to fly the A320NX, but I want to fly the 74. Why doesn't anyone want to fly the 748? I love that airplane. So FMA says what the flight director should show, and the autopilot, if engaged, follows the flight director. Correct, Payne. Correct. So that's understanding. That's a big part of the Airbus, is understanding your FMA. You'll live and die by the FMA. So column 1, we have our thrust mode. We're in thrust climb. We're not an open climb. So thrust climb means that we are actively obeying any vertical restrictions on our climb out, which we don't have any right now, but let's say there was a vertical restriction at KU-81 Mike at 28,000 feet. You would see a magenta star. You'd see an out star here with the leveling, or constraint star rather, to obey the constraint, and the thrust climb is going to obey that. Climb mode, or I said that backwards. Thrust climb versus open climb. Open climb would be disobeying any restrictions. Climb mode is going to obey those restrictions. We don't have any, so it doesn't matter. I could just go ahead and pull for open right now, go open climb. Nothing's going to change because there's no restrictions on the SID. Nav mode, that's just what the lateral flight director is doing. We're navving on what's in the box and which should be on your ND here, so we're navving. We don't have anything in our approach column because we're not doing any approaches right now, but the autopilot 1 is now engaged. If I were to disengage, so everything's the same, but now you have to do it as the pilot. So 1 FD2, that means we got both flight directors on. You always fly with both flight directors on, barring some sort of abnormal situation. Should always have 1 FD2 here, FMGC, the way everything talks to each other. You can identify problems really easily by looking here at this column. If you have 1 FD1 or 2 FD2 or a dash FD2, then you can bet that there's probably something going on, and it's easier to diagnose. Now we re-engage autopilot 1. Autopilot 1 becomes boxed because it's a new mode, it's a change, and then the box will eventually disappear. The blue means something's armed, so we are climbing up to our armed altitude at 350, and the auto thrust is engaged. That's when you hit takeoff. You want to make sure you see auto thrust blue, because that means your auto thrust is going to be engaged. It's armed if it's blue. If you don't see auto thrust blue here, well, you got control of the thrust levers. You can still take off. We do this all the time. We practice this. It's always good to do it every couple weeks, you know, do a no flight director, no auto thrust takeoff, which is, you know, just pitch and power again, old school flying. As automated as the Airbus is, you can absolutely fly this airplane with no flight directors, no auto thrust, no autopilot. It will fly just fine. I would recommend using the bird mode to get started. What I mean by the bird mode is the track FPA. You can see that there. It just makes it a little bit easier, you know, to diagnose what the airplane is doing, what your AOA is doing, if you don't have the pitch and power settings familiar to you. So always use the bird mode. I use even though I know pitch and power settings, I always use the bird when I'm hand flying, just because it's very useful information and it's completely free. So if it's free and it helps you out, probably have it on. Just like I always have my VOR indicators on. Some guys fly with them off. I don't understand. Like, yeah, I'm not using them, but I want to know what's going on with my VORs. Like, are they both auto-tuning? I could do, look, the VOR accuracy check. They're both doing the same thing. If one was split out to the left and they're both tuned to the same VOR, but something's going on with our VOR receiver. But it's free and it gives you extra information. It's out of the way, so use it. Oh yeah, look at that juice. Good thing this isn't a check. V1's confused. Yeah, I know. I was going to the thrust column. I haven't had enough coffee yet, man. Expedite function, you'll either climb or descend at your maximum. So if you hit expedite in the climb, it's going to pitch up until reaching green dot speed, which is very dangerous once you get up to the high flight levels. You can really put yourself behind the power curve, and now you start talking about region of reverse command and getting in a nasty, deep stall in the high flight levels. So expedite, while it's not prohibited for us, some airlines it is, we don't really use it. The amount of times I've used expedite is 3 times. Once to see what it did, the second time was on accident, and the third time was to show an FO what it did. Like to see it in action. He knew what it did. He just said, let me try it. Yeah, try it. If you do expedite in the descent, it's basically going to bring power to idle if you have the auto thrust on, and it's going to pitch for red line. And it's going to come down. And if you're in rough air, you're going to overspeed. So the easiest way to climb faster is just to go selected speed and roll the speed back. Do the flight vectors need to be cycled once you're on the approach? No, Payne. Nah. This is don't worry about that Boeing nonsense. You don't need to cycle the flight directors. You go ahead and arm the approach, and you're good to go. As far as the approach buttons are concerned, it's labeled just the same as the 7.3. You've got an approach push button, you've got a loc push button. You don't need to do loc first or any of that nonsense. If you are on an approach and you're cleared approach, you hit the approach push button. The only time that you wouldn't hit the approach button is if you're doing a raw data approach. Like you don't have anything in the box, you've had some sort of malfunction, or you're just doing it for practice and you're actually trying to fly green needle approach, then you would not hit the approach push button. The only other time you would not hit the approach push button is if you're doing a straight up localizer approach. So if you're doing a straight up loc approach, you just hit the localizer. But if you're cleared approach, whether it's an RNAV, RNP, ILS, approach push button comes on, AP2 comes on. These buttons, this should all be synced up, and really it's the light too. So cleared approach, boom, boom, and light on. And by light, it would be this one right here. Was that the turn off? Yeah. So cleared approach, clear to land. I don't do it in SimWorld. Half the time we don't have ATC for all of them, and I hate looking up here. Messing with the light panel on the overhead is one of my largest pet peeves in the simulator because it's hard to reach. You got to like have your view just right. You got to come up here. You got to click it. Sometimes the click spot isn't where it needs to be, so I don't mess with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the Flight Deck, Captain speaking. We're just reaching
Who's this joker?
Flight. As you begin to settle in, I do want to remind you to please keep your feet and elbows clear from the aisle as the flight attendants.
Wingnut tuning in late, driving to the airport for a 3-day. Ooh.
Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating with.
What's up, man? Hope it's a good one. Hope you have a good overnight. Fly safe, drive safe. Don't watch YouTube and drive, man. Unless you got one of those self-driving cars. Probably do. I bet you do. You have a Tesla, don't you, Wingnut? I bet Wingnut has a Tesla. And his license plate cover says, my other airplane is an F-18. Imagine V1 in that cockpit going, ooh, what does this button do? Is normal thrust reduction 1,000 or 1,500 AGL? It's actually dependent, Kyle. There are certain airports in the system that are different, whether it be a terps restriction or a terrain restriction or just a noise abatement. So we always just brief it. Part of your initial crew brief, you come here in the takeoff phase, it'll have thrust reduction and acceleration right here. So when you're doing your initial brief with your first officer or you're briefing your captain, if we lose an engine, it's going to be straight out heading 250. We're going to speed up, clean up, hit the perf page. What is that number? Whatever that number is, that's what you do, unless otherwise noted on your company pages in your JEP chart. So sometimes you'll have like, let's see, what are the noise abatement, like the popular ones? You got John Wayne, Burbank is, I think, has Burbank got one? Orlando going northbound, depending on the SID that you're on. The climb gradient is extra steep and you need to readjust your acceleration, but your engine out acceleration will stay the same. So it's dependent, really, is what it is. It's dependent on the airport and the procedure that you're on. But it's either 1,000 or 1,500. Latam and Azul are using 400 feet for thrust reduction. Really? That's crazy. Yeah, ours is either 1,000 or 1,500. Our normal thrust reduction is 1,500. That's pretty normal. Are you using beta? No, I'm not using beta. Is that your voice for the announcement? Mike Jones? I don't know, dude. All right. Let's go ahead and get that seatbelt sign off. Let them roam. How far do we have? Yeah, let's go to our Prague page. Let's throw in Boise. Nope, we left Boise. Where are we going? Billings. I don't think I've ever taken an Airbus into Billings. 232 miles. We got a short flight. Let's enjoy some outside juice. Oh, wow. We'll enjoy an outside view here for a little bit. Ooh, look, there's that 320 behind us. There's fake green dot back there. We'll enjoy this for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we got to start prepping. Cheaping out with engine thrust. Wow, Gustavo. Interesting. Flightman, as far as another update, it had some tweaks to the flight model, and then there were some more tweaks and a bug and tweaks, and right now, all I can tell you is the tiller behavior is different, and it's much improved, and I honestly can't tell if there was a difference in rotation. It's been so long since I flew the fly-by-wire, but it rotated beautifully. It rotated like a Neo with sharklets blasting off a cold Boise runway. Felt good. I got the license plate right, but it's a 1999 rusted out Honda Civic. Hey, well, that's probably because it's your airport car. I got the license plate right. That's funny, man. What was that movie with Dane Cook? You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like anyway, moving on. Any updates on the merger? What merger? JetBlue and Spirit merger? I have not heard anything other than Carl Icahn bought some stake in JetBlue and they're bringing him in, and just ask anybody who flew for TWA what he did to them. So I don't know. It's kind of sus. Are you going to try the INI Neo? Of course, Tyler. Of course, I'll give it a shot. I know I've lost a lot of questions. Is there, if there's time, could you do the Idiot's Viewer's Guide to Speed Tape? Yeah, speed tape. Speed tape is pretty simple. There'll be some more symbology on landing, but right here, this is your MMO or VNE. You'll never exceed speed. This little green symbol right here on the speed tape, this is where your protections kick in normal law. So if you have which in normal law we have high-speed protection and high-speed stabilities, those will kick in when you reach a determined MMO plus, Gustavo, what is it? Or VNE plus, whatever it is, right there. There's the green equal sign. Your normal speed range, the green dot, it depends on your altitude technically. The easiest, simplest answer for green dot, that's your best lift over drag. If you were to lose an engine right now, you're going to slow to green dot speed, and I'm going to keep one engine in MCT, and I'm going to drift down to a single engine cruise altitude at my green dot speed. That's best lift over drag. As you get a little bit lower, it's a little bit different, but we're not going to get super technical. On a managed descent, if you're not an FMS2, you'll see 2 pink brackets around your target speed. That's your econ descent window. It's basically sloppy VNAV from the French. So it can't maintain 260 exactly. It gives itself plus 20 or plus 10, minus 10 on the speed. So it will go anywhere in that econ descent window to maintain profile. FMS2 gets rid of that. It just says, screw it, I'm going to overspeed anyway, so you got to ride the speed brakes. The green or the yellow equal sign, if you see that, you will see that when you're slowing down to approach. That's your flap extend speed. So VFE, we call that velocity flap extension, and some airlines do it right on it, some do it -5. I always do VFE -10 and then drop the flaps. The reason for that being, especially if you're in turbulent air, if you're right at VFE and you go flaps 1 or flaps 2, immediately when that lever, the flap lever, is dropped into that position, the VNE will then drop down exactly to where that equal sign is, and if you get any bump in airspeed at all, you're going to overspeed the flaps. You got to ride them up. So give yourself a 10 knot buffer. If you can't, sometimes you can't. You got to give yourself a 5 knot buffer. Gets a little bit more dicey when you start flying heavy 321s and you start dealing with VLS coming up and stuff. Gets a little bit more complex. As far as the yellow stuff that you can't see right now on the speed tape, we'll talk about that. If you remind me of that when we start slowing down. But that's kind of a quick breakdown. Speed tape, I thought you might have talked about the shiny sticky one. Oh yeah, speed tape. The announcement surely came from a Jets and Cowboys fan. Mike Jones, so Spirit will become JetBlue or the other way around? I have no idea, Mike Jones. The way it sounds right now, it sounds like nothing's happening. Whoa, what's going on there? Zippy Zapple got shot out of a cannon. My mic is cutting out. If you're having that, try refreshing the stream. Somebody mentioned that yesterday. My mic should not be cutting out. So, oh wait, did I just turn it down or up? There we go, that's up. If it's cutting out, try refreshing the stream. There is a little bit of internet frame drop today, which sucks, so that might be what you're seeing too. Stefan, no, I'm using Mini FC. I just don't have the camera set up. Audio's perfect. All right, you're the oddball out, man. How about a tutorial on using the bird? Ooh, Charlie Romeo. Remind me on approach. This is the new mic, Team Vodka. This is the new mic, so it shouldn't be the other mic was definitely clipping a lot. I could hear that on replay even, but this mic, the one I don't really watch my streams back. I'll go through chat logs, but the one I watched a little bit back when I first got this mic to see what it sounded like, and I didn't hear any audio clipping. So maybe Dale, it might be your broadband. Yeah, might be. All right, as much as I want to sit here and enjoy some juice, we need to start prepping, because it's going to get, at least it was forecast to not really improve from the snow. So let's go ahead and get a latest and greatest. And we haven't, like I said, I don't remember the last time I flew to Billings. So this is uncharted territory. Let's give it a full, proper, non-250 hour attempt. Anyone know the closest airport to Midland? BFE? I should know. I don't know. Closest to Midland. I'm sure there's some little, I don't know, yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I'll have to look at a chart. All right, METAR, Billings, 030 at 12, 1 mile. Runway, 1 statute mile. Runway 10 left, RVR, 5,000, vertical, 6,000, light snow, mist, few at 5, overcast. Should we do a Cat 2? Let's do a Cat 2 instead of a Cat 3, because auto landing's lame. We'll do a hand-flown Cat 2. How about that? Good thing I brought. Did I bring my iPad? I think I did. All right, this is gonna be spice. Since we're gonna have to do a little bit of a briefing setup here, let me pull up the chart for the arrival, and excuse me, I got the hiccups. We'll set this, and then I can focus on giving you guys a Cat 2. We'll do a hand-flown Cat 2 approach. For 10, I don't think we go this way. We go out to Bear. Bottom altitude should be 8,000 feet, 210 knots. Let's make sure Bear is in the box here. There it is. Bear is in the box. We said 8,000 feet, so I'm going to dial in 8,000 on the Mini FCU. That is now set when it is time to come down. With that said, let's go over to the perf approach descent. Let's do 7.8 and an even 300 on the speed. Hopefully we didn't just screw up the entire VNAV profile. The approach phase, ooh, I can barely see because the shadow. Realism, uninstalling. 1 mile, 030 at 12, 030 at 12 for the winds. Temperature was not cool, -8. Ugh. People live here? Altimeter, I can't see because the dang shadow. Why is this so realistic? 3018. All right, now before we put in a Barrow, I'm going to pull out my Cat 2 because I have not flown a Cat 2 approach in a long time. Normally we do Cat 3, so if it's a weather like this in real life, aircraft systems permitting, we'll just do a full-blown Cat 3. So doing a Cat 2 is kind of weird. You do that if you had some type of malfunction, most likely. This will be good. Where do I pull out the Cat 2 briefing? Because we got a whole new set of books. Cat 2. Search. Category 2 approach. I know we got to do a 50-foot alert height, all that good stuff. ILS category 2, blah, 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 blah.
Why is it not in there? Okay. Have you tried the shadow resolution of your CFG to 8192? No, I have not. I haven't messed with anything in the CFG, man. Okay, so for a Cat 2 approach, we're going to set an alert height of 50 feet on the radio altimeter. 50 feet is set. At 50 feet, we have to decide if we are either landing or we're going around. We can hand fly this all the way down, which we will attempt to do. We have that 50-foot call out, and I either have to say runway or no contact, go around, and then we'll commence a go around approach. But hopefully we should see it 1 mile is. So we're just setting up a little extra juice. So 50 feet is set in our alert height. 8,000 is set up there for the altitude. As far as the missed approach go around, we're looking at a 2-engine out go around acceleration about 5,100 feet. Single engine go around is 4,600 feet. We'll be in the soup. We'll have to really comply with this go around here. Let's look at the approach. You know what? We can't even do a Cat 2. It's not authorized. It's not authorized for Billings. So scratch everything I just said. We can't do a Cat 3. We can only do a Cat 1. What's our alternate? ILS Zulu. This is all we got, chat. We can't even do a Cat 2. What's the viz required for this one is 2,400 RVR half mile. We have the Zulu in the box. 3785. 2,400 or 4,000. I don't want the high. We're going to go ILS Yankee 10 left. We need to change it. ILS Yankee 10 left is what we need. So scratch everything I said. Approach, arrival, ILS 10 left, a Yankee. And we're still on the Yeslin 3 and bear transition, right? Yes, bear transition is what we want. Approach via bear, already selected you. JCUG transition insert. Okay, I hope I didn't just mess up your whole VNAV. Alright, so we got a runway change in progress. We still have our TOD there, just past GCUG, which is good. Minimums now, 3785. That's all we got, chat. We can't go lower than that. Cat 1 only. 3785 set. So this one would actually be a little bit, we'll be starting to think, what do we need for alternate? I think our alternate was Salt Lake, right? Yeah, Salt Lake City is our alternate. Take a look at our fuel. We don't have any alternate gas programmed here. We need to adjust our fuel page. Oh, Yellowstone. Thank you, Tyson. I was wondering what the hell they called that. Let me look at my fuel burn here, guys. I need to pull up my Navigraph charts. I need to... Why does this happen? So every time I click to open a PDF, I just want to open it in the browser, but it like downloads it and then launches PDF viewer. I know that sounds probably super boomery, but like it never used to do that. Every time I try to click on a PDF on like SimBrief or something, it downloads it and opens the app or opens the actual Acrobat. Okay. Looking at my fuel numbers for our alternate of Salt Lake, we need 4.4. I got 3 kids. We're going to bump that up 4.7. Min destination fuel. Let me look here. Wrong side sim shorted me on gas on this one. Yeah, Salt Lake 4.4. We need 4.7. FAR 1.9. Extra. Man. Min reserve. So min destination. Let's go 4. No, that won't be enough. So we need 5.5. A final time. We need 45 minutes. Let's call it 2.5. That's a little bit more realistic. That only gives us 16 minutes according to this. 1.8 in Salt Lake. I can't be. So either way, we're tight on gas according to that.
We need to make sure we get down. We have one approach. If not, we probably have to head to Salt Lake. Speaking of, let me just make sure I'm looking at this right here. What do we have on board? We've got 8.6 on board. We need 5,000 to get to Salt Lake. 2.5 overhead with 39 minutes. Min destination 5.5. Yeah, there's definitely some wiggle room, chaos, but either way, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. I'm uncomfortable with it on the conservative side. I don't think we have a plethora. We really legit, because Salt Lake is so far. Real life right now, I'd be sending a message to dispatch. I'd pull up the dispatch cars, but hey, what do you guys think about something a little bit closer than Salt Lake? Salt Lake is a pretty far alternate. So to keep Salt Lake as an alternate for legality purposes, you're burning a lot of gas to get there. If you get something closer, maybe you can then, you save a little bit of fuel, have another shot at a second approach. After one go-around, though, we'd start to get kind of tight on the gas. Change alternate to Casper, we probably would. We'd have to get an amendment, talk to our dispatcher, be like, hey, look, the weather's not that great. There's only Cat 1 approaches here, 1 mile viz as is. What do you think about changing that alternate? So that would definitely be in the works right now in real life. I actually did that not too long ago on my flight up to Boston before I went on my 3-week little vacation here. The dispatcher actually hit us up, said, hey, look, because of the winds and some of that snow that's going to be blowing in there, let's go ahead and give you an alternate. Because we actually dispatched without an alternate. It wasn't required. But the TAF updated en route, and the forecast looked a little bit grim. Luckily, we flew in, got in right at, it was a legit, we broke out at probably 50 feet. So it wasn't a full, we did the auto land procedure, but we saw the runway well before zero. But good thing. Weather changes. It happens. Weather changes. I was thinking Jackson Hole, baby Bozeman. How do pilots talk to dispatch their company, call, phone, or radio? Bradley, we use ACARS. So we'd go to that McDo menu in here. And, yeah, I don't like seeing any orange in the box. We go McDo menu, ATSU, and then there'd be an AOC, free text, and then it'd be to dispatch. Or actually it'd be wrong side sim. Wrong side sim. We'll send it off. All right, we'll start the descent. Mock descent, a little bit early. Here we go. R. Kelly, appreciate the $5 super chat. Wrong side must really work for Frontier the way he minfield you. F minus. R. Kelly, appreciate you. Very kind. We need to get wrong side sim back in the chat. I wonder if he's working today. Listen to that spool down. Look at that view.
Welcome to flight deck, ladies and gentlemen. As you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for our approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated.
Sam, I'm very curious. We're going to find out here pretty soon, Sam. I haven't done any flying with it. I'll tell you what, I like the takeoff. I've always liked rotating the fly-by-wire. For some reason, it just feels perfect to me. Like the combination of the side stick I have, I guess, and then just what the Neo does. The Neo is just smoother in pretty much everything. CEOs, they can be a little bit more squirrely. They can be a little bit more jumpy, rough run. The Neo is just, it's smooth in everything it does. And for some reason, the rotation in the fly-by-wire has always been, I've always never had a complaint really with it. I don't know about flare. We're going to find out here pretty soon, though. I'll keep an eye on it. Interesting, he said that he liked the old one better. Very interesting. Do you think this plane flies realistically? Mike Jones, so far, absolutely. I do. All right. We are thrust idle. Here's our speed tape. So there you go. There's our econ descent window. So it's going to do what it can to maintain our vertical deviation donut here. If it needs to go faster, it'll go faster. The speed will go up until reaching the edge of the econ descent window. Once it reaches the edge, it'll say more drag required. You got to pop the speed brake. Or too steep path, depending on the software. So that's our econ descent window. There's our vertical deviation donut. It's actually getting a little bit ahead of us, which is fine. I mean, people split hairs on the Airbus VNav, and the real thing is hit or miss anyway. So as long as we don't have to write anything up or overspeed anything, I'm fine. Is this plane bouncy on landing like the Fenix? Ducatari, I don't know, man. We're going to find out here pretty soon. I haven't landed it since probably, when was the last fly-by-wire stream? Probably that JetBlue stream we did about 3+ weeks ago. Is that your new sub perk announcement pack for the Fenix? Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah, I'll have to do a sound pack for the Fenix. Welcome aboard Bourbon Airlines. Charlie Romeo had to unwind my Google account from work and lost my 2.5-year V1 eplets. Oh, Charlie Romeo, man. Sorry to hear that. No worries, though. We know you've been around for a long time. We appreciate your support. Only if it has to erp. Have you done a stream or video on the 300 or 310 before? Adam, yeah, take a look back. We flew the 300 for about a week straight. Which is another airplane we need to get. There's so many good airplanes. I wish I had more time, y'all. I mean, I say that, just had some time off from work, but time is hard to come by to stream. I mean, between 3 kids, a 40-acre hobby farm, and real life, it's hard to fly all these airplanes. Because I want to fly them all, man. There's so many good birds we have in the sim. There's just simply not enough hours in the day. What causes a smoky engine start? It can depend, John. The most common is when it's super cold. You got a cold-soaked engine. For some reason, that always seems to get a nice light off. Unburnt fuel vapors in the fuel, like it didn't ventilate all the way. That's how you get a tailpipe fire. Matter of fact, there was just tailpipe fire the other day in Miami. My buddy had one. Yeah, that's an interesting scenario. I'm not going to discuss it now, maybe in a few weeks when things clear out, but yeah, he had a tailpipe fire just, I think, last week. We were talking about it the other night. Basically, the only 2 times that you abort an automatic engine start, anybody know this? So during an automatic engine start, which we do 99% of the time here, especially on YouTube or in Flight Sim, the only time you would ever turn off your master start switch during automatic start, 2 scenarios. Complete loss of electrical power. So say you're starting it up and the APU auto shut down. Okay, you don't know where anything is, you don't have any protections, you abort the start. And then you would eventually do a dry crank and ventilate. The only other time you would kill an automatic engine start is a tailpipe fire. The only way you know you have a tailpipe fire, short of an EGT overtemp, you may not even get that depending on how the tailpipe fire is lighting off, is ground crew. They should tell you, hey, you've got a tailpipe fire, and at that point you would immediately abort an automatic engine start. Kind of the drama around it is the ground crew did not say anything to the crew, and by the time they realized they had a tailpipe fire, there was already damage done to the engine. Like I said, because it depends on, it's so, you could say, oh, a tailpipe fire, you have an EGT overtemp. Very likely, absolutely, but the engine can still take a lot of damage before it reaches that point, because you're not supposed to have a fire in the back of the engine. So you rely on the ground crew to be on their game, starting engines. They didn't say, they just thought it was normal, so they didn't say anything until the crew got an alert, and by that time, like I said, the damage was already done. Coking on a fuel nozzle, poor spray padding on initial light off. Yep, Haas. Sound like a mechanic. There's some crazy ones on YouTube. You just look up like smoky engine start or like first engine start after an engine change, unburnt fuel. Like there's some pretty wicked ones. I remember one time we started Embraer 190. I was doing a charter, so I used to fly Embraer 190's contract or charter, and we started up in Halifax, and it was like -33. I mean, at -40, everything shuts down. You can't start at -40C for the Embraer. A lot of airplanes, -40, everything shuts down. So it was like -33. Super freaking cold. That first engine start, it sounded like a friggin' bomb went off. It's like struggling, just boom.
And then there was a little bit of a tailwind, so all that smoke just blew across the cockpit, went up into the packs. You could smell it. The ground crew's like, yeah, it was a smoky one, but everything's fine. I don't know the science behind that on why the cold air makes it so aggressive. I'm sure there's some type of thermodynamics or something going on with that, but I have found that the really cold soaked engines have a pretty interesting light off for the first time. This weather's looking sweet. Look at that. Who does the left-by-wire compared to the... Oh, how does the fly-by-wire compare to the Fenix? It flies like a different airplane. It flies like a Neo. It's the best way I can describe it. I don't know what flare is going to feel like. We haven't landed it since the latest update, so I'll let you ask me again here once we get on the ground. But I've never had... I really don't have any complaints with the way the fly-by-wire flies. It flies like a Neo. Yeah, it looks like it's going to get a little bit spicy in here, Zippy Zap. We'll be turning the engine anti-ice on for sure. Does the donut work like the pink on the 7.3 and show where... Yes, Payne, exactly. That green donut is the FMS1 version of the 737 descent. You're absolutely right. We call it the vertical deviation donut. All right, Magic Barrel ref key needs to be set. We've got 3024, 1, 2, and 3 times. We have 18,000 feet. Seatbelt signs are coming on. Look at that rainbow. A double rainbow. A double rainbow, Chad. Smash the like button for double rainbows. Oh my goodness. Look what we're flying into. And just like that, it's disappearing. Smash the like button for this weather. Talked about dynamic weather, y'all. This environment, flying in this environment is so much more realistic than flying in static environments that you get on other sim platforms. So airplanes and flight dynamics aside, look at this environment. I'd be a little bit nervous right now, no lie. Like, hey, look at this, it's pretty dark up there. It's a little bit dark up there. Try to act cool. You don't want your FO to think that you're a little bit like, oh, that's a little sus, and he's doing the same thing, or she. And then you set the parking brake at the gate, and you're like, all right, let's go to the bar. Gonna need to recover from that. All right, 250, 11,000. VNAV is bang on right now. We're doing a good job. We got a nice crosswind here. We have an amber up here at Bear that lets me know it might be a little bit spicy to slow down at 210 and hit it, but we'll do our best. That just looks awesome. You'll never get me Lucky Charms, Bomb Tech. Good to see you. That's a $200 shot next plane. Flying into ash clouds. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Look at that rain shaft over there. And you know what's cool is it's not just visual. Like, that's a real rain shaft. If you fly through that, you'll get rain effects.
Traffic, easy 95 Tango Delta. We're on the Yellowstone arrival. We're going to slow down to 250 as we seem to be kind of on top of the traffic ahead of us.
Oh yeah, we're slowing now. We'll slow to 250. I'll tell you what we do. We're going to go ahead and... So this is where it's going to get a little bit off. So I'm going to select speed, 250 knots, and then I'm going to do an open descent to 8,000. So we're gonna just skip that 11. We're gonna go straight to 8, 250, 8,000 blue, thrust idle, open descent, speed brake action out. Oh my god, the hiccups all of a sudden. Mr. Martini. Yes, exactly. I don't know what this little, like, is this tape or something on the window here? I don't know what that is. Weird of an effect. All right, we're going to be flying in icing conditions, so engine anti-ice is on. Now we got to dim our screens down because we've got realistic lighting here. We should probably have the terrain push button on, but I don't have terrain on this either, right, Chaos? I forget. We'll just leave the terrain on. Oh. All right, now the auto dim seems to work. All right, 11.6 for 8,000. We're at 250. Once we hit 8,000, we will slow it up manually. We're about to go through 10. Let's get our landing lights on, wing lights on, clear to approach, clear to land.
I can hear a little bit of wind noise when you do that. That's very realistic. Those are those wing lights popping out of the belly fairing right there. What? Did you hear that? What? That's the speed brake retract sound. That's crazy. No, I'm not running SimBridge. Absolute juice. Oh, down spoilers arm. We don't need to arm you just yet. All right, there's 10,000 feet. I'll fly down space prepare for landing. All right, 10.1 for 8. Our lights are on. We're 250. We'll hit 210 as soon as we level. This might be a spicy approach, y'all. This looks like it's going to get a little bit spicy up in here. Anthony, you've been learning a lot. That's awesome, man. Glad to hear it. Boris did that sound so you can hear it just while you're watching the plane fly by. That is so cool. I hear it all the time. My house sits right under a waypoint on the one of the Harry Potter arrivals in Atlanta. There's a restriction on it, and you can hear them. Ooh. Ooh. Everyone trying to make that 210 at 8,000 or whatever it is. I think it's on the Gandalf 2 arrival. I have to look. That's what that sound is. I hear it a lot depending on... Yeah, exactly, Steve. That's exactly what it is. So you hear that... That's the speed brakes coming out. And then you hear that... That's the speed brakes retracting. How do you like my sound effects? I'm basically Boris. Fubar, good to see. Sneaky. I almost missed this. You almost missed it? Man, y'all need to turn your notifications on. It means not enough of you hitting the like button. Is that the same sound from the 220? I'd imagine it's similar, but the Airbus is very, like, I know exactly when it's an Airbus. If I hear a rendition of that sound, it's probably, you know, either a 220 or I don't know what a 773 does it or not, but if it's an Airbus, absolutely, you'll hear it every time. And the faster they're going, the more aggressive it is. So if you're doing 250 knots and you go full boards, or even like 270, and you go full boards trying to level, it's pretty loud. All right, roll it back to 210K knots on the mini FCU. A320 flew above my house last night. I knew at 21,000 feet, and I was surprised how boomy and bassy it was, like a 777 at 330. Nice. I like the little light on the inside of the engine there. It's cool. All right, so as we slow down our speed tape, there is your VFE next. So once we get to VFE minus 10, which is right about now, I will extend flaps 1, and I'll show you here on the Throttletek cam. As soon as the flap lever is flap 1, boom, there's your speed drops down. So now our flap 2 VFE is right there, 200K knots. S speed, that's really for cleanup for the go-around. That's your, you get into an S speed trap on a 321. We won't get into that, but don't really need to worry about S speed right now in a 320. If you're in a 321, then you do, because you can get into an S speed trap where it won't decel below S speed, so you need to go flaps 2. But 320 right now, we're fine. A220 has the whale sound from the engines. Don't know if you can hear the speed brakes. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the speed brakes. I wouldn't know, because the 220 doesn't fly into Atlanta, so I'm sure once the 220 starts flying into Atlanta, they'll be riding that speed brake down on the Gandalf. All right, 210 at 8,000. We have already been activated and confirmed. Temperature -8, 3785 in the Barrow. It's like a weird eye adaptation going on with my screens being too dark. We already flew through the decel thrust out, so the approach is already activated. That's what I just checked. Yeah, if you make sure when you're in selected speed, make sure you either manually activate or you've already flown through that decel point. Do you like the CFM lease or the Pratt & Whitneys? It's a sore subject, Rex. I think Pratt's are superior, but in light of current affairs, they're definitely not doing all that hot. SimWorld, Pratt & Whitney's all day, every day. Ray Harris, glad to hear it, man. Thanks for the support. Glad you're enjoying the channel. Full boards and my hat out the window trying to slow down. Yep.
Billings traffic is United Tango Delta. We're about 5 miles out of Beer and we'll be turning for the final for the ILS. Traffic ahead. Have you got an ETA on your arrival at Beer?
Yeah, Frontier Flight 357, we're just over Beer now. 8,210 will commence the ILS 10 left Yankee approach. Alright, so...
Roger, I'm gonna drop down to about 180 just to get some separation between us.
Roger, that sounds good. We'll maintain 210 for a little bit here. We'll maintain 210 to Y-bond. Alright, 6,000 is set.
Tango Delta.
Thrust idle open descent. We're going to keep 210 on the speed. What does FMC activate approach phase do compared to approach push button? The activating of the approach phase in the FMC or the McDo basically saves you from going managed speed and going into 250 knots. So without getting into an in-depth conversation right now, you'll probably, by the time you hit the approach button on the FCU, you'll have already flown through the decel point, which would automatically activate the approach phase. If you haven't, and you go select manage speed on the approach, instead of slowing to your next VFE speed, your airplane is actually going to accelerate as it's trying to go around to the managed speed because you're not in approach mode, you're still in cruise mode. So you go manage, it's going to try to speed up to 250 knots. So that's actually been changed in FMS too. But you can tell that we already flew through the decel point, the big D, magenta D on the ND, because we don't even have activate approach phase here available. So if I were to push manage speed right now, it's going to slow to my next VFE. But the approach push button, that flies the airplane. The FMC doesn't really fly the airplane. The approach push button is going to allow you to capture the glide slope and localizer. Like right now, there's no glide slope or localizer armed, even though the approach phase is active, unless you arm the approach on the FCU. It's kind of confusing, same word, a little bit different meaning. All right, there's 210 to Y-bond. We'll go ahead and start slowing back to 180 now. And let's go ahead and arm the approach. Approach push button AP2. Glide slope blue, Loke Star, Cat 3 dual, because we have both autopilots on, autopilot 1+2. We're slowing up. There's VFE next -10, flaps 2. Nope, I'm using the mini FCU. I just keep forgetting to use it in the sim.
Billings traffic easy 95 Tango Delta. We are turning for the final, approximately 13 miles.
I'm Billings traffic Frontier Flight 357. We're on a 5-mile final. Correction, 7-mile final. Runway 10 left. All right, here comes our glide slope. Once the glide slope captures, we will set missed approach altitude, which is 4,500 initially, and then a climbing right turn to 6,000. So we'll actually just leave it at 6. Glide slope start. Go on altitude is set 6,000 white. We're 2,000 feet. What's field elevation? Field elevation is touchdown is 3,500, so 2,000 is 5,500. So in 5,500 MSL, we will manage the speed and go gear down, which is 2,000 feet above touchdown. So here comes 5,500 MSL, or above field, manage speed, gear down, speed brakes armed. So we need to be stable by 4,500 MSL. There's our VFEs now below 10. We'll go ahead and extend flaps 3. And you can see we're already VFE next -10, flaps full. Landing checklist. Landing checklist cabin crew is advised. Auto thrust is in speed. Auto brakes are off. ECAM memo should be landing all green. Landing all green. Landing checklist is complete. We're at 4,900 feet. We got 4,400 feet to spare. All right, so
1,000.
we need a hand fly this
1,000.
to see what the flight model
1,000.
feels like. Okay, yeah, I get it. 1,000 feet, brother. I don't know why my view seems a
1,000.
little off. Oh, replay.
1,000.
No auto brake, because auto brakes are mid. Auto brakes are mid, unless it's raining. Or I don't have my tactical flip-flops installed. Alright. Let's give this a shot. Autopilot's off. We're going to hand fly. We'll leave the auto thrust on, because we're going to be testing the flare model here. I don't see anything.
400. 400. 400.
15 knot direct crosswind. Probably should use auto brakes. Approach lights. Continue is the call.
100 above.
Runway. Landing.
Minimum.
This seems really shallow. Look at that pappy.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard.
Billings traffic, EC 95 Tango Delta, we're fully established, 4 miles.
5.
Oof. It seems pretty strong on the nose down there. Oh. Idle reverse only. That was a little sus. That was a little sus on the flare. We might have to replay and gauge that to see. That seemed a little bit interesting. Billings traffic, front flight 357 will clear of 10 left taxi gate. Clean it up, stop the record. I want to see that again before I have any comments, and we'll fly it again. So the good thing about this replay mode is it basically launches us right on short final. We can adjust the weather, and we can do more touchdowns just to see. Initially it felt good, and then I kind of was like putting input and not getting any input. We'll see. I'm going to replay that. This is the default hotel Billings Airport, by the way. Payne, take it easy, man. I must say I love the tiller. Tiller adjustment, 10 for 10. Trying to see that EasyJet break out. And Easy, how far out are you? Oh, there he is. That's pretty cool.
Touchdown, 357.
Not bad. All right, let's turn it in here. We'll go across these taxi lights. They're not here in real life. I vote for touch and goes. We'll give it a. We might give it a shot here, Tyson. Hang tight.
If anybody asks, I didn't drag the left gear through the dirt.
Why is there a bunch of mud on it? Park
It's supposed to be like that 320 from like a week ago.
Whoa, look at the ice on our airplane. What? Maybe we should have had it. Maybe we should have had a wing anti-ice on. Erp. I mean, don't worry about that parking job. Let's get to the replay. It looks like our airplane has a disease. Our airplane has a disease. All right, let's get into replay. We'll disconnect. Flaps are coming out. Let's see what that one looked like first. We'll go replay cam. We got to analyze this situation here. Analyze the situation, ECAM actions. All right, replay, execute.
Initially, it felt good, but then I felt like something happened that I wasn't sure about. Severe chafing on the fuselage. Real Calco, good to see you. Normal operations in Norway during winter. Exactly. You would think we're in Norway up here with these winter conditions. Although Norway's a hell of a lot prettier than Billings. I don't know, Billings is pretty nice too. But not Norway. I've seen those rail cam streams. -10 in precip. It makes sense. It makes sense. Freezing fog. 250-hour parking job. That was a suburban parking job. I've been through the frontier, Mr. Martin. Alright, let's analyze the situation here. First and foremost, let's watch it from the wing view, because wing view is juice. So you can see my initial flare. I thought I had a pretty good correction. Almost like had to flare it twice. I don't know what the touchdown rate was. It seemed like it was kind of firm. Point it back. Alright, frame gen off. Let's see what it looked like. So initial flare. Oh, almost had like a shifting tailwind. It just kind of pulled me down. I mean, that looks like what it felt like for me. Let me watch this one more time. Does our speed replay? I forget. Alright, so let's watch the speed
10.
here.
5.
So I, like, see it, that was pulling me down. We're going to give it another shot. We're going to reassess. Let's wind it back. Watch one more from like ground level here. So we're coming down. I thought I put some rudder in there. Obviously not enough. Okay. Let me see. Let's give it another shot. So the best thing about this replay mode, we're not going to change the weather. We're not going to change anything. We're going to wind it back. And we're just going to hand fly it again. So we'll turn the bird on. I'll turn the cam back on so you can see what I'm doing to it. Stop replay. Okay, I'm flying. Oh, man. No, I'm not. We're in reverse. Oh, brother. That ain't going to cut it. That ain't going to cut it. Hold on.
20.
Hold on.
Retard. Retard.
Let's try this again. There we go. We're flying. I have the power out and the speed brakes out. Anti-ice. Everything is detected. We get the wing anti-ice on too. All right. We're flying now. We're flying. Don't mind that. Don't mind that.
400.
We don't have a glide slope, so that's not very good. Might have to change the disc because I don't have a glide slope in replay here. Oh, geez, the runway's over there. Yeah, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to change the weather. Okay, yeah, reset. Alright, pause replay. Let's go clear skies. Now the airplane's going to freak out for a second. Best landing so far. Alright, let's test this flare mode out here. Everything's armed, we're armed up, flaps full, gear is down. Yeah, we're looking good. Alright. This is stock Billings, Delta Tango. This is all bone stock. Oh, we didn't stop the replay. We're gonna stop replay. Okay, now we're flying.
400.
I have control, 2 whites, 2 reds. Do a little bit of a tailwind, not the best, but it's 3 knots, so it should be fine. Let's try this again. Let's record this one too. Recording is on. Alright, now I got a little bit high there. Correcting. I'm going to ignore those pappies because I'm going to be 50 feet on the money.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Hmm.
10. 5.
All right. Let's try it again. All right, stop replay. I'm flying.
$50, 40, 30, 20, 10. 5.
So it's easier to float it. Let's go back. Try this again.
Pull up.
Let's go ahead and just do a little go around situation there. We'll reset everything. Go around flaps.
Too low. Terrain.
You're up.
Too low. Terrain.
I think it might be a little confused. Alright, we're going to get her all trimmed out. Or 4,000, that looks good. Now let me try slew mode here real quick.
400.
Oh, we're going to go further back.
Too low. Terrain.
Alright, so ignore the touchdown zone on this one. I just want to run it all the way down, do a nice power to idle. Well, we're going to see here. So ignore the touchdown zone. I just want to retrim the aircraft. It felt a little funky when I took over there on that replay. So we're going to fly it down. We're 3 degrees. We're looking at the bird. Tail of the bird on the horizon. That's a 3-degree path. We're just on ref speed. We're about VLS plus 5, which is perfect. Drive it down.
50, 40, 30,
Power to idle.
20.
Arrest the
Retard.
descent.
10. 5.
And that felt pretty dang good. It's interesting. I feel like it's requiring more flare. I haven't touched the nose. The nose just now came down. So that's pretty wild. So let me go back. Let me stop. I have control. I definitely feel like I have to use more stick. We're a little bit hot on this
50,
one.
40, 30, 20. Retard.
A little bit fast.
10.
Let's see how buttery we can get it. Let's see if I can get like a
5.
1. I'm going for the absolute 1er. What was that? All right, let's do a full go around, and we'll fly one pattern. Go around flaps. Flaps 3. Positive rate. Gear up. Oh wow, that's actually, look how beautiful that is. Was it 60? It should require a bit more stick to flare. Gain was a little below, or a little low before. Okay, so a little more stick, definitely would agree with that. That's what I'm feeling. All right, we're gonna go flaps 2, 180. Let's just fly a visual circuit. circuit. Look at me speaking like a Euro. Visual traffic pattern. 180 knots, we're flaps 2. We'll call it 5,000 feet. That should be good. We'll call it 5. 5,000 feet, 180 knots, flaps 2. Airplane feels good in trim. We'll disarm the speed brakes there. So I definitely think, where'd my runway go? I definitely feel the necessary requirement to flare more. I feel like the Neos, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like it was better before. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm gonna get her nice and stable. So watch this. We're gonna go 100% stable, just like that. That looks good, right like that. So now we'll go into this mode, spin it around. Ain't nobody got time to fly a traffic pattern. Oops, just rolled it. We're gonna roll it a little further back. We can do this one for real. So we're gonna pretend this is a real approach. Gear down. Flaps 3. Flaps full. Arm the speed brakes. Gross weight is 140,000 pounds. So not super light. Let's do an S turn here to get.
Gentlemen, once again, Captain speaking. We've just reached our cruise altitude for the flight, and in a settling, I do want to remind you to
Recording is on.
as the flight attendants will be coming
1,000.
galley comes shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating near the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Alright. I really don't like those pappies, but it's Microsoft, so. Alright, we're going to treat this one like a real one. With flaps full, gear down, cabin blue, call that normal. VLS plus about 7. Bringing a little bit of power in. About 3-degree path, tail of the bird on the horizon line. That's a normal 3-degree slope. It's kind of a, let's just ignore the pappies. I'm going to try to hit 50 foot across the numbers. Pappies seem a little wonk. About 50% on the N1s, that seems plausible. Very light winds.
$50, $40,
Work it back.
$30,
Arrest the
$20,
descent.
retard,
Powers at idle.
$10,
Hold it off.
$5,
I don't hate it. I don't love it. I gotta be honest with you. I don't love it. I don't know why. I feel like I'm fighting a magnet. You know when you have two magnets and you're like getting them closer and closer to each other, and like you can start to feel them pull on each other. That's what I feel like is happening. That's what I feel like is happening. So I don't know the details of what the FlyByWire team changed. Sounds like they upped the gain a little bit, so that would make sense. It's requiring more aft stick. I tell you what, I'm flying a Neo on Saturday, so I'll report back when it's fresh in my head. I'm probably not the best to give a full critique of this yet because like I said, I haven't touched an airplane in 3 weeks. I'm going to fly a Neo on Saturday. I'll report back, but my initial feelings is that it definitely requires more aft stick, and I don't know if I love that because the Neo, from what I can remember from the real airplane, is it's a pretty gentle, pretty nice, like you're already pitched out, the airplane's in trim, and you bring the power to idle, you just need a little bit of and she should just roll on. So let's see what this one looked like here from the replay. I wonder also, Chaos, what type of side sticks does your test pilots have? What type of side stick does your test pilot have? Like, see that nose pulling me down? That's not me. That's me. I'm flaring, and it's still pulling the nose down on me. So, I think it would depend on your hardware as well, and like whatever your test pilots are running for side sticks. I think that'll make a difference too. But I definitely think it floats too much for a bus. So Roberto, I agree with you there. And I don't know. I don't want. It's not trash. I'm not saying it's bad. I feel like I liked how it was before. I think that's my honest assessment. Is I feel like I liked how it was before. It definitely rotates and hand flies better than it lands. If you were to critique this airplane's flight model in all three phases, the best phases, ground handling with the tiller, awesome now. It wasn't bad before, but now it feels extra good with the tiller, awesome. Takeoff rotation has always felt really good. Hand flying the airplane in normal law, which we've only really done in this airplane, feels good. Flare and landing, not quite there, not sure. So, I don't know if that helps or hurts or nobody cares. That's just my honest assessment of how I come along for this one. But with that aside, I definitely still enjoy flying this airplane. The sound set's awesome. It flies like a Neo. It takes off like a Neo. I really enjoy it. So those are my thoughts and assessments. We're gonna wrap this stream up there. I appreciate all y'all for coming in here and hanging out with me this afternoon. I don't know if I will be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow's my last day before I go back to work. Might do something yoke-driven tomorrow. Might do a Learjet. Might do a turboprop, depending on a couple other things. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. No promises. But again, thank you all for tuning in. Fly-by-Wire team, shout out to y'all guys. I hope no one takes offense to my criticisms. I probably don't know anything anyway. I love this airplane regardless. I appreciate what you have done to the community, with this airplane. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'm out of here. See you in chat. See ya.